Hey guys, Louise here, back with another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Did you know before I became a dog trainer, I was a dog mom, just like you, struggling to figure out what the heck I was doing and how to do it? When Monzo was a puppy, it was pretty easy to take him to a puppy class. He wasn't reactive then. But as he got older and he reached his adolescence, it was pretty embarrassing to take him out in public. Now, let me be the one to tell you, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. Reactivity is no big deal. It's normal. It's okay. You are not alone. But if you're feeling like it would just be a little too hard to take your dog out in public to do some training, I want to invite you to sign up for our free mini training course, The Distracted Dog. In this program, you're going to learn how to teach your dog to want to pay attention. You're going to teach your dog how to come back on cue every time in the face of an emergency or a trigger. And we're going to focus on a decompression game, teaching your dog to sniff on cue. These are wonderful ways to start if you have a reactive dog. And if your dog isn't reactive, they're great training anyway. So I'll be sure to put the information in the description below. Head down to click on the link redponydog.com/distracteddog, and you can sign up today and get started working with your dog at home where they feel safest. Today, we're talking all about the best ways that Jake and I enjoy the most relaxing walks with our two reactive cattle dogs. I know that sounds impossible, but we're going to go over 3 ways, 3 things to keep in mind so that you can enjoy a nice and relaxing walk with your reactive dog too. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. Now, the first way we ensure a relaxing walk with our leash reactive dogs is we take advantage of every single bad weather day. When it is sprinkling, when it is raining, when it's dark and gloomy and cold and windy, it is the best days. And the reason is that there are fewer people outside. When there are less humans outside, there are less dogs outside. So there are less triggers available for your dog. And so maybe you're in your management and prevention phase and you're like, you know what, Louise, we're not ready to be around triggers yet. My dog doesn't have the foundation skills necessary to be successful. You can still go out on a bad weather day because the likelihood is less. Now, that doesn't mean that nobody walks their dog in the rain. In fact, we walk our dogs in the rain every time it rains. But it does mean there's less potential to run into triggers. So let me give you a couple of tips so you can try going out with your dog on bad weather days and enjoy a relaxing walk. First, when you pull up to that parking area for the trail you're going to take your dog to, are there cars in the lot? If the answer is no, you may be okay, but you may not be. It depends on the trail. If there are cars in the lot, if your dog is reactive to people, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be successful? Am I going to be able to handle this? Is the trail wide enough so that I can get distance and keep my dog under their threshold? If the answer is no, well, then you're just enjoying a nice drive with your dog, right? So if you've never been to the trail, the other thing to consider is maybe you go there by yourself first. Go with a friend, bring a cup of coffee, enjoy a nice stroll in the woods without a dog, and kind of take in the sights. Are there signs of other dogs? Are there signs of other people? How big is the parking lot? How wide is the trail? If I had to jump off trail, would I be diving into a ditch or climbing into a stream? Or is there nice open woods that I can get the distance that my dog may need? So you can, check the parking lot, research the trail ahead of time. And the other thing is even if you're going to go out on a bad weather day to walk your reactive dog, bring a buddy if you can. If you have a family member who can come with you or a friend who's in your dog's inner circle, bring them with you so that they can be walking out ahead of you in case something pops up. Now, if you go out to a trail and there's no cars in the parking lot and you decide today's the day we're going and it's an out and back, I want you to be careful. On the out and back, you have a greater chance of running into people who are just starting out on their walk. So on the walk out, I'm much more relaxed because I know there's very likely nobody else out here. But on the walk back, you just don't know. So I want you to practice defensive handling. When you are turning around a corner, keep your dog closer to you. Maybe practice the 1, 2, 3 game or even heeling if your dog knows that until you have a better line of sight for what's coming around the corner. You can even Practice pulling over periodically to keep your dog attentive on the walk back to the car. When you're on the walk back to the car, you're like on a mission. Let's just get back safely so we can end this on a good note. So when it's bad weather out, you can go out and enjoy nature, and it's beautiful when it rains anyway. My favorite in New England when it rains because the streams are full and the moss is so green. So do me a favor and give it a try. The second way that we enjoy a relaxing walk with our reactive dogs is that we go to strange places. I know that sounds silly, but if you're going to a state park that allows dogs and it's a Saturday morning, you're gonna see people and other dogs. It's going to happen. So try going to a strange place where you're less likely to see other people or other dogs. A strange location could be the woods behind a town library, where people don't usually walk dogs, and maybe the library is already closed for the day. Also, a church parking lot. Those are great places to train. The parking lots tend to be pretty big, and if church isn't in session, the parking lots are usually available to do some wonderful training. And even if you're not training, you can walk around the parking lot and just let your dog sniff to their heart's content. That is so, so, so valuable for them. Now, when Jake and I take our dogs for hikes in the White Mountains, we usually just drive the kank. And there are loads of beautiful trail systems that connect to the kank, but there are also plenty of random little pull-offs that lead to nowhere. And while it may not be the most beautiful for you, you can still enjoy walking your dog and going on a road trip to the Whites in New Hampshire and just go out and let your dog sniff in the woods in a safe way. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a trail, it could just be a pull off. The other thing is dirt roads are wonderful. So again, up in the Whites off of the Kank, there are loads of little pull-off roads that, probably lead to an area that's gated off or lead to a campsite. That's a great place to walk. Now, when you're going in a strange location, I want you to keep in mind one thing at all times, and that is to protect your exit. What's your exit strategy? What are you going to do if a trigger pulls into the parking lot or suddenly becomes available, right? So if you weren't expecting to see a trigger and you see one, I want you to make sure that you can get to your car quickly if you have to. So when I say protect your exit, don't go too far away from safety. And your car is that safe zone for you and your dog because it's the only way you can really make sure a trigger isn't approaching you, especially if it's an off-leash dog. Hopefully, you don't ever have to deal with that. So always be protecting your exit so you have that plan. The emergency U-turn is a great one for that. Again, that's something we cover in the distracted dog. More info in the description below. The buddy system also works really well with this one because if you have somebody with you who can, be on the lookout for things while you're working with your dog, that's really helpful. When I used to be brave and I'd go out on state park trails with my dogs, I'd have a friend come with me. So if there was a person ahead, they could run ahead and make sure that that dog was leashed for me while I followed up with Monzo later. One of my favorite places to walk our dogs is at reservoirs. So in our area, we have a couple around us, and while they don't necessarily have trail systems, they don't have a map or a trail or anything like that, there are paths through the woods that are really nice to walk on. And so that's another place to check out in your area to see if your town reservoir happens to have a trail that goes down to the water. It could be a great opportunity for a quick outing with your reactive dog, and it's not going to be as busy or populated as, say, the town beach would be. And my last strange location suggestion for you guys is the school system. So a lot of public schools will have trails in the woods around them, and when school's not in session, you can walk around in the parking lots too and let your dog do some good sniffing. Just please be sure you pick up after your dog so no one's getting into trouble or anything like that. But it's a great place because it's also usually pretty open. You'll be able to see if any triggers do pop up. If a family pulls in with a carload of children, to play on the playground, you can quickly get back to your car and head out, but you'll also be able to see them coming so you can, make that exit plan as quickly as you need to. And my last tip for enjoying a relaxing walk with your reactive dog is to go at night. Now, when Monzo and Piper were younger, Jake and I would pack them up at like 10 o'clock and we'd go to Pawtuckaway State Park and we'd walk, especially when it was a full moon, it would be beautiful. And yeah, it's nighttime, that comes with some inherent risks, right? Like wildlife. And there may still be other people and dogs out, but it's beautiful and it's quiet and such a great opportunity to let your dog safely investigate a new space. We also do a lot of road walks at night, especially over the summertime, because we can walk right down the street in the middle of the road and there's usually not many cars coming. We do still wear bright orange and reflections and all of that stuff, so we're being safe. But walking at night, you're again much less likely to run into people with normies with their regular dogs who aren't reactive but may still be triggering for you and your dog to see. Nighttime is a wonderful opportunity to just go out and be quiet and relax with your dog. So I want to give you a couple of examples of places we've gone to with our dogs to have relaxing walks. So like I mentioned earlier, Jake and I love taking Monzo and Piper to the Kank. We'll pack a lunch, we'll pack the dogs, and we go. Now, the goal of the day is not to hike a mountain. It's not to see the waterfalls. It's not to do any of that. It's to just have a good day. And so we'll drive around and we'll pull over and we'll find an empty parking lot. Maybe there's a trailhead, but there's nobody there. So we'll let the dogs out and we'll walk around the parking lot and sniff a little bit. And if someone pulls in, we pop them back in the car. We go to the next spot. You'd be surprised how many random little trails you can just pull over and find along the Kank. Also, there is a million ways down to the Swift River. So if you want your dog to splash around when the weather's nice, it's pretty easy to find a safe location that you can do that and, feel pretty comfortable that you're not going to run into another dog or another person. You always wanna be prepared, though. So I always have a carabiner so I can anchor my dog to a tree if I need to collect an off-leash dog. I always have spray shield with me. I always have a pop-up umbrella, those kinds of things, so that I can protect our dogs from other people and other dogs if needed. I haven't had to use them, but I'd like to just have the peace of mind of knowing I can keep them safe if I need to. So that's one of the ways that we've gone on a really amazing trip with Monzo and Piper. Another thing that we did was Jake and I took some time off over, gosh, I think it was 2 summers ago, and if you wanna know the trail name, you'll have to comment below because I don't wanna give my secrets away, but it was a beautiful trail in New Hampshire, and I had never heard of it, and I've grown up in New Hampshire, I've done all the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, and, Jake and I hike quite a bit. So we just took Piper because it was a new trail we hadn't been to before. So Monzo stayed home with the pet sitter. And it was kind of like a triangle. So you'd go up to a little lookout point, and then you would go down through the woods to a beautiful pond and then back to the parking lot. What I love about loop trails is most people take them in the same direction, and when you read the guidebooks, they tell you which way is best to take for least amount of effort and, you for, the grading system for the trail. So that's always helpful because most people will follow that, and then you have a pretty good sense of if there's gonna be people coming towards you, and of course, if people are gonna turn around and change direction, that happens too. But we went on a Wednesday, and it was supposed to be crappy weather, and it ended up being gorgeous, like, just beautiful. The pond was crystal clear. It was amazing. We did see one other family with a dog, but, they kept to themselves, we kept to ourselves, and other than that, we only saw a moose, and it was amazing. Granted, it was one dog and 2 people, and so that definitely helped me feel more relaxed because I knew that Jake was out ahead making sure we could see other people or dogs coming, and that was definitely helpful too, but finding those strange or more odd or less popular trails are really valuable. Going on a weekday during poor weather, you're gonna have a great time. I hope this has inspired you to be brave and go out with your reactive dog into the real world and enjoy your time together. Try to find a way that you and your dog can have relaxing walks together again, just enjoying nature and having a good time, even if that means going at night or during a rainstorm. But here's the thing. Reactive dogs, they bark. They're sensitive, and it's normal. It's okay if you have a dog that barks at other people or barks at other dogs. It's they're just dogs, okay? So try not to worry about it, right? It's the easy thing to say, but in reality, it's no big deal. You're doing the best that you can, and until you and your dog have a better plan, it's still important to enjoy your time together and still build a strong relationship based on the things that you guys love to do together. And if you love nature, then you'll be as hardcore as we are, and you'll go out in the rain and you'll go out at night. If you have any suggestions that we can add to this video, I'd love to hear them. Tell me about them in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Tell your dog I said hi, make sure you give them a treat from me, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.